In this tutorial, we'll take a look at some of the basic print options available to us with Excel. So when you've produced your worksheet and you want to look to see what it looked like when it's printed, we can go up to the File tab and down to Print, and in the print option we have some particular settings, but the first thing we're going to look at is the print preview. So this will show us an image of what it's going to look like when your printer prints out your worksheet. By default, Excel uses the A4 paper of portrait orientation. So in my example, you can see that part of my worksheet doesn't appear on this particular page, and that's because it's appearing on the next page. If we look down the bottom, we can see the range of pages that Excel thinks that it's going to produce, and if we click on the arrow to the right going to the next page, we can see the rest of my particular worksheet is on the second page. So we can go back to the first page. So this is a useful idea of how many pages are going to be produced from your worksheet. Now if the paper was turned the other way around, I'm sure that all of my information would fit on. That orientation is called landscape. Here we can see some settings available to us, and one of the options here is portrait orientation. So that's the default, which is set at the moment. If we click on portrait orientation, we've got two options, both portrait and landscape. So I'm going to choose landscape. Paper gets turned around, and now we can see there's only one page that's going to be produced, and everything luckily fits on. Now at this point you can press on your print icon and it will print off your work for you. However, I want to make some additional changes, so I'm going to click on the arrow to the left, and that takes me back to my worksheet. Now when you do this, you may notice that there are some dotted lines which appear on your worksheet, and these dotted lines are giving you an indication of where the pages break. So everything within this dotted area is on the first page, and anything on the following is on the following page, etc. Now you could actually have changed the orientation while working on the worksheet. There is no need to go into the print preview. To change it while in the worksheet, on your ribbon you find the page layout, and there's a section called page setup. Orientation is an icon available to us, and if I click on here, you've got portrait and landscape again. So I'm going to change it back to portrait because I want to show you how these little dotted lines change depending on what orientation is selected. And here you can see that this part of the information, in fact only columns A, B and C will print on the first page, and then columns D, E and F will print on the subsequent page. So that's no good to us. I want landscape, so I go up to, again, page layout, orientation and landscape. And the dotted line moves away a little bit further. Now some of the other options available to you for printing, still in the page layout tab, they're in this section here, the sheet options. There's an option called grid lines. Now grid lines, there's a tick on the tick box that says view. So the grid lines are by default showing on our worksheet. If I click on that tick box, I've now turned them off. Look, the grid has disappeared. And this is useful if you've got pictures or charts you're trying to align. Generally, you probably want the grid lines turned on so that you can see where the cells are. So I'm going to put that back on. But grid lines also have an option for print. I'm going to select the print. Now this particular option doesn't show anything in our normal worksheet view, but if I go back into the print, here in our print preview we have now these dotted lines appearing around where all our information resides. So these are grid lines. Useful to print them if you haven't had the chance to put borders around your work and you're in a rush to get it produced. I go back to my worksheet. So page layout has your orientation to change from portrait to landscape, and it's also got these sheet options for printing grid lines. You've also got options to print headings. Now again, the headings are viewed by default, so let me take them off. Look, the column letters across the top have disappeared and the row numbers down the side. So that's always useful to have turned on. There you go, back again. And there's also the option to print them. And again, in the worksheet view, can't really see a difference, but if I go up to the print, so file and print, here in our print preview you can see now the column lettings are appearing across the top of the columns and the row numbers are appearing down the side. So that might be a useful option if you were to print the information out for a meeting and you needed to refer to a particular section of your worksheet, and that's allowing people to being able to reference the cells a little bit easier. Now those options I've changed by using the page layout tab on the ribbon. However, when you're in the print preview, you can choose the option here of page setup, and you can also change the orientation here in the page tab, and in the sheet tab you can select to have the grid lines turned on or off. So now I'm going to turn them off, and you can select to have the row and column headings turned on or off. So a tick means they're on, click to remove the tick and it means they're off. And when I select OK, because I'm in the print preview, I instantly see the effect that has. When you want to print the information, I would just check that the pages showing are what you expect them to be. If not, and I only want the first page, I could, in this pages section, select from page 1 and to page 1, so that would ensure that I'm only going to get the first page. Or failing that, you can actually select a particular area on your worksheet for printing. So I'm just going to come back out of here. I'm going to select this top area, click on the first cell and drag to the last, and then while that information is selected, I'm going to go back to File and Print, and I can see everything here on the print preview, but I'm going to look at the settings, which is set to print active sheets. If I select this option, it actually reveals 3 options in total. Print whatever's on the worksheet, print whatever's in the workbook, so if I've got more than one worksheet it will print all of those worksheets, or print the selection that I did earlier. So if I select that option, the information that I've selected in my worksheet is the only information that is shown in my print preview. When I'm happy with the settings, click on the print button, and that sends the information to the printer and returns me to my worksheet so I continue on working. In future tutorials we'll be looking at how you can add charts.